What up, team? It's Joe Mill here. We back again with Killer Miller Q. Today we're gonna be putting together a good cook here on the Lone Star offset. Best believe that you're gonna like this one. We got smoked chuck roast coming your way. We're gonna get it all the way pulled tender. We're gonna put together our own beef po' boy. I think you're gonna like. Hold tight. Now, as you saw, we're gonna be cooking. I want to just bring you in before we get started. We got an easy prep, but check out the marbling that's going on over here on this chuck roast. I came across this one and literally it made me buy it before I was even ready. But I ain't want to leave this one on the shelf. This is a little over 2.5 pounds that we're gonna be making today for our pulled beef po' boy sandwich, and I think this is gonna come out absolutely great. Believe it or not, this is only USDA chuck or choice. But with that said, it looks absolutely beautiful. Let's get this baby seasoned up. All right, team. So just like I was telling you, this right here is gonna be an easy prep and a cook today. I'm not gonna cut nothing off of this chuck roast. It's already pretty much ready to rock. Only thing that I did was kind of pat it off, get a little bit of that extra moisture off of it. We're gonna start with just the basics. We got our disposable gloves. I'm not even gonna use a binder on this one today. I wanna let this one just kind of breathe. There's plenty of fat and everything in there. And today I'm gonna be using another one of my favorites. We've been here before. This is that Holy Cow Meat Church meat rub. So all I'm gonna do is come over the top. And now this is, like I said, a little bit more than 2.5 pounds. Pretty healthy piece of meat. Don't be afraid to put some seasoning on there, as always. And then what I'm gonna do, since I'm not using a binder, and I always do it, but make sure that you keep in mind, since we're not using our binder, take a second to pat this in, okay? And all we wanna do is get all surfaces covered. I'm gonna take care of these edges in a minute, but I wanna make sure I got a nice layer all over the top, so I end up with a nice pretty color and lots of flavor. I'm gonna do my edges last, and I'll show you how we're gonna kind of clean up a little bit of this that we already had out here. Now it's gonna knock out the other side. Nice solid layer. Okay, and then we're gonna pat on this side. Nothing too crazy. Like I said, we're using the Holy Cow Meat Church rub. And then what I wanna do with these sides is all I'm gonna do is turn it to the side, and I'm gonna get what's left on this board. Let's pick this up. Rubs don't be cheap, so at that day said, let's make sure we save and we get every bit of ours. All right, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Soak up some of this extra. There we go. Make sure I get my top and my bottom. There wasn't really a whole lot of excess fat or fat that I wouldn't necessarily like. Most of this stuff is gonna render, but the little bit that I saw on there, it's all the good stuff. You don't gotta worry about that. So truthfully, if I would have tried to shave any of that off or whatever, I might have messed around with this chuck roast, and by the time this thing gets cooking, it'll fall apart on you. Now at the end, I was kind of debating whether I wanted to actually end up with being able to do this where we can slice it, or actually do it where we're gonna pull it. We're gonna take it all the way to the top. Today I'm gonna be cooking at about 250, and we're gonna go ahead and make sure that we can get this baby pulled tender, and we're gonna put together a great sandwich, you see. All right, so we got that good layer of that meat church going all around, and now I'm just coming over the top. I like black pepper. We're gonna come with a little black pepper, even though there is a decent amount in that rub. Hopefully I don't blow away. It's a windy day over here. Give my little black pepper on here, just to give it a little extra. And this is kind of, there we go. Give me a little barky, a little crusty. Believe it or not, pepper actually give you a little kick. I won't worry too much on the sides on this, but I will clean up whatever's on this board, just as a good practice. Then I'm gonna let this hang out for about 15-20 minutes. It's already kind of came up the temp. I just want this seasonings to kind of marry in there with it a little bit, and then we throwing this baby straight on the pit. Believe it or not that big a piece of meat, But being that we're going all the way to pull tender, so I'm roughly gonna be looking at probably around 203, something like that. At the end of the day, you want it to be probe tender. What they mean by probe tender in is you stick that probe in, it should be going in like it's literally a hot knife going in butter. It should be no effort. It should be no fight back, no give. So easily that's gonna be about 203, might be 205, close to 210. You never know. All depends on your piece of meat, your stall, and everything else. So with all of that said, I'm easily about to cook this, and my guess, roughly 4 or 5 hours. We're gonna see. I'm bring you in, let's see what it look like. Hold tight. All right, we got that meat up to temp now. We've been hanging out here for a little bit, so it's about time to get this thing onto the pit. Let's take a peek at what we look like. You can tell all of that rub is kind of sweated in. It's got a nice red overall appearance, and that's exactly what I was looking for. Let's get it on the pit now. And there we have it. So I was going to take a second before we go ahead and close this baby down. Always keep in mind, the way that your meat looks when you put it on the grill, that's what it's going to look like when it cooks, other than it's going to probably shrink up a little bit, and that's the way it's going to serve. So take a second to make sure you group your meat. Don't leave this thing all sprawled out, and make sure it's nice and pretty, and then we're going to put it to rest. So I'm cooking at 250. I'll come check on it in about an hour or so, take a peek, and as I'm throwing wood in, we'll kind of go from there. Okay, so it's been about an hour and 17 minutes of no peeking, and let's take a look at where we at. I got us on the top grate. Easy pull out and access. Get a little in the sunlight a little bit for you. It's looking good. Can already tell that the crust is setting on it. We smoking along at 250. I'm using oak wood. I'm usually always using oak right now, as I got a pretty big bundle of it that I'm working through, but it's going fast for what it's worth. So then I'll probably go back to pecan. But I think I'm gonna give it a little spritz. I made me up a little something that I'm gonna try a little different today. So what I got in here is it's half Worcestershire and half beef broth, and I always add a little bit of oil in there just to keep everything moving. I find for myself, I feel like every time I do just Worcestershire sauce, sometimes I don't like the sweetness that it ends up giving my meat, and it gets away from the peppery, salty taste that I kind of like, pepper, salt, garlic type of deal. So I wanted to go ahead and give it a little bit of that beef broth in there just to kind of even it out. So we'll see. I'll let you know. I'll bring you back another hour or so. All right. 2 hours, 11 minutes. Here we go. Starting to look good. So what am I looking for? I mean, I thought about it. I didn't even tell y'all. So I'm gonna pretty much look at it. I mean, since I know I'm going to pull tender, whenever you go into pull tender, you know you got a long way to go. So I don't even care about this temp right now. I know it's nowhere close to 205 or 203 or 210, whatever it's gonna need to be. So really, I'm getting smoke on right now, and I'm getting color. So I almost think of it like a brisket. So all I'm about to do is I was just wanting to check and see how we looking, make sure we don't dry out. We looking pretty good. I'm using that same mixture like I told you, that Worcestershire sauce and the 50-50 with the beef broth. About to say beer broth. Beef broth and the Worcestershire sauce, and that's it. And we about to put this baby back in. We're gonna keep smoking. Catching out. All right, before we go check on this meat, I just want to take a quick second to tell you, if you've been following along, I appreciate you. And if you're brand new to the channel, make sure you take a second and hit that bottom right corner, like and subscribe so you can keep up with the weekly cooks. I'm gonna be switching it up and showing you some different stuff here soon. But other than that, let's get to the cook. All right, so we're a little over 3 hours. Oh yeah, baby's looking good. I could almost get a little bit more color on there, but I kind of like where we at. I'm kind of thinking of it more or less like a brisket. I'm going to end up wanting, since I'm going to pull this, a little bit of bark. I see a little bit forming over here on this side. That's good. So I'll make sure we spritz over there on that side. And what I'm going to do is give this a full rotation. And I'm going to let it keep going. And I'm going to give it 1 more hour before I give it a wrap. But we are going to get a probe on it real quick and see what we look like. Let me grab my probe. So I'm going to go from more or less mid-center. Drive into it, make sure I don't go too far in there and hit that rack. Yeah, we still got a ways to go. I'll probably wrap it in about an hour, let it get closer to 160. So same little spritz. I'm just gonna hit these little hot areas, and I'm gonna give it a light rotation. So I'm let it go. So I wanted to jump in here real quick and show you something that we're gonna do to kind of level this sandwich up. I got a little bit of mayo here, and all we did was add in some of this sweet Smoky Joe's Creole kick, and this is gonna go as a top layer to our po' boy today. I want you to see that before I run out of too much light. Bring it in nice and close. Give it a taste. Make sure you like it the way you want it. Holding temp like a champ. We've been rolling along pretty much at about 250. That's what I was looking for. That's the color. Just threw me a log in. I know the smoke's getting in your eyes. Don't worry. If I'm okay, I know you good. Check that out right there. We got us a good little bark, because I mean, you think about it, you're going to end up pulling this like pork or anything else. So a little bit of that bark out there is going to give me one flavor, and then we'll kind of go from there. Let me see, where my where's my thermometer? We're gonna see where we at, but I already know this is where I'm about to wrap up. We've been 4 hours of good old-fashioned smoke, so I got more than enough of that. I got a good looking color, and we're gonna wrap up so I can get the pull tender from here. I done lost all my daylight. Hopefully y'all still got a decent view of it. I can tell we got a nice crust on there, I can see. And it's still sitting at around 145. I rotated it. So from there, I'm gonna let it go all the way until we get to about 205, 203. We'll see. I love being able to kind of do this right in here on the grill. So I just started with a little bit of a good spritz of that 50-50 Worcestershire sauce and beef broth. And now I'm gonna go ahead and give it a great spritzing right now. That way it's got plenty of moisture while it's sitting in here. And I'm gonna wrap it up tight and double foil. And we'll come back and check on it in another hour or so and get a little temperature check. All right, we got this baby all wrapped up nice and tight in this double wrap of the aluminum foil. I'm gonna throw it on this bottom grate. Kind of move the rotation of where it's cooking, pump this heat up, and now it's all about getting it done. So I'm probably about to go from where we were cooking at about 250. I'm gonna jump up to around 275, 300, and we're gonna finish this baby off. All right, we still rolling along. Just a tad over 5 hours. Let me probe this thing and see where we at. It smells amazing out here. I'm telling you, when you dial in and you really start learning your smoke and everything else, you can tell when something wrong. Ooh, it's getting kind of soft. Yeah, I knew it. Talking about dialing it in, that's that dial in right there. I don't even need that probe. As soon as I push that in, I can tell that's getting close to where I want it to be. Oh yeah, I like that. Let's see what that says. That's a little bit better. 208. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm about to rotate this, give it about 20 minutes, which I really probably don't even need to. And we're gonna come back in here and see if we got this sandwich. All right, so we let that baby chill. Like I said, I rotated it for another 20 minutes. I really don't even need to probe this thing at this point because I was at temp pretty much last time. I was just using this time as a little bit of prep for me to go ahead and get my oven together so I can start warming up my bread. There we go. 210, nice and tender on the push in. Let's try another spot over here. 212. All right, I'm gonna pull this off of here. We're gonna sit it down on the cutting board, let it chill out for a half a second, and I'm gonna pull it down. And at the same time, I'm warming up my oven, and we're gonna throw that bread on there to let it kind of get toasted. And we're gonna start putting together this sandwich. All right, I wanted to bring you in close as we're gonna kind of tent this baby open a little bit, and we're gonna get these first couple peeks of this together. Oh, that's a lot of juice. Now you remember when we came in here, all we did was we spritzed it well on both sides. Now look. Oh yeah, we're gonna let that breathe for a second, and it's gonna be an easy pull. All right, so we got this here. It's been resting for a little bit, so let's dig in here and see what we got. Look how much moisture came out of here. And look how much this chuck roast shrunk. I'm not going to even mess with it too much yet. So what I am gonna do, hopefully it doesn't fall apart too much on me, we're gonna move from here, there we go, right onto this cutting board. Make sure you save your juices. This is gold right there. We can strain those down later, put those off to the side, and then we're just gonna go ahead and just pull this meat. And I can already see a nice smoke ring on this meat. And we'll pull this all apart. So what I'm gonna do is tear this apart, and then from there, I'll bring it back and let you see what we got. Hold tight. All right, we are back. Check it out. You can see a good smoke ring going on. Like I said, we end up going about 5 hours over oak. Pulled great. I've already tasted it. It's great. The meat church rub is definitely a winner on there on that ground chuck roast. So this right here, some of the casualties, some people will eat this and love it. But you know, I got a dog, so I'm gonna take care of him. A little bit fattier pieces, a little bit more of that chewy connective tissue, so I'm gonna get rid of that, and we're gonna stick to the product. I already got my oven going on the inside. We're gonna warm up this French bread a little bit, add a little bit of cheese to it, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you this sandwich we're gonna put together. Hold tight. All right, so we back. Come here and check out this meat one time before we get together to put together our version of this pulled beef po' boy. We got great looking pull. We got a great smoke over here, and I tell you now, I've already tasted some of this meat and it is fire. So this is what we're gonna do to kind of start it off. First things first, we're gonna come back to some of this mayo that we put together, and that's what I want to be on my top. For me, I just want a nice little layer. I took the time to go ahead and put this bun after I cut it in half in the oven, and we layered the bottom of it with a little bit of American cheese, a little bit more of this sauce. So I'm just gonna give me a little sauce on top. That looks pretty decent. This is the reason we kept some of that juice, right? I'm gonna give this a nice little drizzle on this meat. Oh, it's gonna be fire. I'm gonna go ahead and cover it up with a little bit of lettuce. And obviously you can make this the way you want. Some people just like meat and cheese. There we go. A little bit more on this side. That looks good. I want some tomatoes. Some kind of layer on here. I don't really love too many seeds, so I kind of usually knock them out along the way. But that'll be about good for me there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of get this thing on the top. It's nice, pretty, fresh French bread. And believe it or not, I'm not gonna eat this as one. I'm gonna go ahead and take a second and carve this whole thing up. So give me 1 second, we'll carve it up. I'll bring you back in, we'll get a taste. All right, so we got this all cleaned up, at least enough for me to give me a taste. Now we're gonna see, check this out. Come in there close. This is what you put together. All that weight. All right, cheers. That's absolutely perfect. That mayo is a nice compliment. I tell you what, and I've been snacking all in between every cut, that meat is fire. Meat Church know what he's doing. And this French bread was perfect. I make sure I had to go back and tell him a good job. Thanks for hanging out with us. We got a late night cook in. Killer Miller Q. I'll see you in a week. Peace.